Hello. I got a real problem. I had some work done by this company here, and they did such a bad job for me that I don't recommend taking anything to them. I don't recommend calling them. As far as I'm concerned, the place is a fraud. When I talked to them before, they told me straight out that they only use high quality parts and they guarantee their work, and that's simply not the case. The work they did was so sorry. They hire these kids from the community college who don't have any experience. They're not qualified. They shouldn't be doing major work. They should be doing simple work like tune-ups and brakes, not major engine repair. I got these two cards issued by ASE. One's gold and one's silver. And they got my name on them. And there's 7 different certifications for ASE issued to me because of my qualifications and experience as a repair technician, not only in cars, but in heavy equipment. And they have a much higher standard. And let me tell you, them exams for the heavy equipment was way harder than any automotive exam there is. And the issue I have with these people is this oil pan gasket right here leaks. And this timing cover leaks. But since they use high quality parts, explain to me why they leak or started to leak at the first 100 miles. And then I had a problem with the oil plug being stripped out. And then I got other problems. The day I took it home, it didn't run right and it was running hot. They had a brand new radiator and water pump, and everything in it was brand new according to them. The problem I had with these people is this gasket right here for the intake plenum, they never replaced it. This O-ring around the top of the intake plenum was broke. It was sucking air. It had a vacuum leak. That explains why it was running hot. In addition to that, this fuel controller was leaking gasoline inside the engine. They never took it apart, inspected nothing. They just took the external components off and just slapped them on top of some really cheap gaskets. And yes, down here under the lower intake, the gaskets are leaking. I sent the engine oil to a lab, and then they confirmed that there's antifreeze in the engine oil. But yet, according to these people at Pilot Engines, there's nothing wrong with the engine. It's a lack of maintenance. Whatever excuse they can use to justify why they treat people badly. There's 2 cards from ASE. I have 2 different separate certifications in engine work. And yes, I've done a lot of engine work in my days. 20 plus years. I took the harmonic balancer off of this thing. And they put RTV sealant on the balancer and the crank bolt so it wouldn't leak oil on an interference fit. It's very unlikely. They also took the crankshaft position sensor out and they pasted that thing in with RTV sealant. I had a hard time getting it out of there. But yet, the front of the oil pan, they did not use RTV sealant on it in an area that's subject to leak. And I pressed on the front of that timing cover with my thumb, and I could see the oil pan gasket move on top of the oil pan, indicating that the gasket has shrunk away from the oil pan. It's no wonder it leaks. And it's a gray colored gasket, and the only gasket comparable that I was able to locate is made by a company called Engine Tech, and they supply a whole bunch of rebuilders, and they are the bottom of the barrel, and that's the reason that all the gaskets are leaking on me. This engine has 3,000 miles on it. I got an estimate of $1,250 to replace the oil pan gasket and the timing cover. That doesn't address the problem in the top of the engine with the gaskets being bad there, leaking antifreeze in the oil. The lab analysis also identified accelerated levels of lead, indicating there's wear on the camshaft bearings from having antifreeze contamination. So these people down here, they're really good about monitoring their reviews, or they will post false reviews. So the last one I read said Stephanie K. The manager of this shop, her name is Stephanie King. Her previous name was Stephanie Grogan. There's also positive reviews under Stephanie G. indicating they're leaving false reviews to puff up their business, and they're deleting all the negative comments they get, like from Facebook or whatever they can do to cover up the fact that they're doing bad work in their shop. They're using cheap parts. They won't guarantee their work. And somebody who, like me, paid good money to have a quality engine rebuild, and then the thing needs to go to the junkyard because it's not worth fixing it now. Because it's going to cost $2,000 to $3,000 to have this engine taken out and completely redone again because of their fraudulent workmanship and defective materials provided by their own company. And this is unacceptable. Be sure and follow the links listed in the description box. And like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I found out that gasket is bottom of the barrel, and it's no wonder it's going to cost me $1,200 to have another shop fix it again, because you just can't take the oil pan off and replace the gasket. You've got to drop the front suspension out of this truck to get the oil pan off, or remove the complete engine. Thank you very much.